This metal dome is actually a map charting the position of the stars and planets above my head. It's called a stellar sphere, and it's a memorial to one of England's greatest astronomers. Find out who he was and where I am in just a moment. Once upon a time, two long-time Londoners had a dream of moving to the country.
This feels to me like, you know, the sort of the house in the woods, the gingerbread fairy tale sort of place.
But without the
witch.
Exactly.
And they may find their fairy tale ending.
Completely tugging at my heartstrings. It really is, yeah. I could just imagine us in here.
Okay.
Today I'm in Derbyshire, in the village of Denby, and this is the birthplace of John Flamsteed, England's first astronomer royal. Flamsteed spent his entire life observing the night sky, and he was one of the first to make the observation of what he thought was a star and called 34 Tauri, but he was wrong. It turned out to be the planet that we now know as Uranus. Derbyshire is in the East Midlands of England and borders counties including Staffordshire, South Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire. A large section of the Peak District, the first national park in England, is found in the county. Also, there are many footpaths in the area, but as well as being a popular destination for walkers, the high moorland plateaus and ridges of the national park are the source of many rivers. And it's these waterways that powered Britain's industrial revolution in the 18th century. Here on the Derwent, pioneering inventor Sir Richard Arkwright built one of his greatest endeavours, the Masson Cotton Mill, setting the blueprint for future construction. It's now a working museum. On the banks of the River Wye, we find what was once the 11th century seat of William Peverell the Elder, alleged to be the illegitimate son of William the Conqueror. The current Haddon Hall showcases the architecture of the medieval manor house, with alterations and additions from the 13th to the 17th centuries. Elsewhere on the River Wye, water has been harnessed for recreation and relaxation. The Romans called Buxton the waters of the goddess of the grove, and in the 18th century the town became a spa centre, complete with elegant accommodation for an influx of wealthy tourists. So for sublime scenery, a slice of social history, or a stop at a spa town, it's well worth diving into the depths of Derbyshire and making that country escape. With more than a third of the county lying inside the Peak District National Park, there's plenty of gorgeous locations in Derbyshire, and property prices are not too expensive. The average price for a detached house here is £216,000, which is a whopping £84,000 less than the national figure. However, to protect rural communities, there are some restrictions on properties inside the park. These occupancy restrictions means that people can't buy them unless they've been working or living in the park for more than 3 years. However, there are plenty of other gorgeous properties to be had, so let's meet the couple who are doing the choosing today. After 26 years together, John, a deputy head teacher, and Stephen, who runs a hypnotherapy practice from their home in Leytonstone, East London, have the family of their dreams.
We never imagined, even 10 years ago, that we would be able to get married. So to have the civil partnership come along was amazing. And then when the adoption laws changed to allow gay couples to adopt, again, we never envisaged that we'd ever be able to have the family that we'd always wanted with children.
I can't think of a better decision we've made than to adopt the two boys that we have. We've got a really lovely family now.
Becoming parents 18 months ago meant a big shift in priorities, and they feel that leaving London for a new life in the country is the best move for them and their two young sons.
We've really searched ourselves and thought about how we were going to be the best for them. And I think this move is another part of that journey of wanting them to have the kinds of childhoods that we had where you were able to go out and run around, go for long walks in the fields in the countryside and not have to worry.
And the feeling that we don't have to do one thing after the next, run from one appointment to another appointment.
Along with a rural backdrop and room for their growing family, John's hoping for space to rekindle his musical side.
I love writing music and singing, performing. I've worked on several operas, written a Requiem Mass, which was a long time ago. And it's that kind of thing that I want to get back in touch with. My creative passions have taken very much a sideline. So I've got a lot of unfinished projects, which I'm hoping will now get finished, and then see where I'm going from there.
When it comes to the location of the new home, they both know where they want to go.
We decided on Derbyshire as being a good place for the boys to grow up in, and also for ourselves, because we've visited the county so many times and we've never grown bored of it. Derbyshire's always seemed to have a calling for us. You don't have to drive too far to get out into the sticks and the forest and the woods. Derbyshire's
just a stunning place. And lovely villages and the hills and the Peak District and all that. It's one of those places. It's to feel, wow, to feel comfortable and to feel safe and to feel this is where I really want to be.
Stephen and John are open to living anywhere in Derbyshire with good links to either the city of Derby or town of Chesterfield for Stephen's client base. But before I start showing them houses, we're meeting in their chosen county to talk about what they want from their move.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Hi.
Welcome to Derbyshire, although you know Derbyshire quite well.
Yeah, we do now, yeah.
You moved together 20 years ago to Leytonstone, but this is a much bigger move because you've got the boys on board. How are you feeling about it? How are they feeling about it?
We're excited, nervous, as you might expect. The boys are a little nervous, a bit anxious, but they've made several moves in their lives already. And as one of them has said to me, it's just another chapter in our lives, it's just another move.
Tell me a bit about your spec. Remind us what we're looking for today.
For just the house, which is a 5-bedroom house.
So 5 bedrooms, quite a big house. And you want a music room, is that right?
Yes, yeah, I need to have a space to be creative.
What about the reception rooms? What do you need there?
Well, I know John likes a big kitchen, because our current one is very small and he's quite a cook.
Well, I have got a lovely sort of vision of me cooking and the boys sitting there doing their homework or being creative. Or,
we love a vision on this show, and then we dash it with the reality.
No, I don't believe that.
And one of the things I'm after is a separate room for my practice, because I'm a therapist. So that will have to be downstairs as well.
And in terms of location and space outside, what are you looking for there?
We want a decent-sized garden, particularly for the boys to be able to play out and enjoy being in the countryside.
In terms of the actual style of the house, what are you looking for?
We're after a house with character. I suppose our fantasy is the cottage with a lovely real fire in the living room. So we haven't really been interested in new builds unless they've got something quirky about them.
If it feels right, if it's the right house, we can make it work.
Remind me of your budget. How much money have we got to play with?
If we find a house with outbuildings, around 475.
OK, so the outbuildings are for what?
For the possibility of converting to maybe holiday lets.
OK, well, we can talk about that as we go along.
Sure.
There's quite a lot that you're looking for, it's a nice big budget, but we have some great properties lined up, all quite different, so hopefully one of them will tug at your heartstrings. There's no town like the present, so get your bits and bobs, let's go.
Fantastic, thank you.
With a total budget of up to £475,000 for the right house with outbuildings, Stephen and John would like a character property with a large kitchen, 5 bedrooms, a music room, and somewhere for Stephen's hypnotherapy practice. They'd also like a large, child-friendly garden. We've got some incredible properties to show them, and at each I'll be asking them to guess the price before I reveal it. The final tour will be our mystery house, which may lead to a surprising conversion. The village of Brassington in the Derbyshire Dales is where our search is heading. Nestled in the rocky limestone uplands of White Peak and close to many footpaths, the quiet country lanes take in a pretty Norman church, village shop and primary school alongside lovely old stone houses. Once an important centre for lead mining, reminders of the industry remain. The house we've come to see is located in a small residential close.
Listen, guys.
No road.
Just quiet, peace and quiet.
Good.
This is the property we're interested in. We're just a village away from the beginning of the national park.
Right.
So a great location.
It looks beautiful,
It
doesn't
does, yeah. Really sort of country
Oh,
cottagey.
yeah, lovely. I love the brickwork. It feels nicely quiet down here, particularly. So that, the boys could play out here, I think, and I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Well, you'll see there's more play options elsewhere.
Okay.
Let's take a look inside.
Built in 1992 with a later extension, a central hall takes us to the first room of the home, which is currently unoccupied.
It's an unusual property because there's nothing in it, so the owners have already moved out. But it gives you a blank canvas. Obviously, this is the sitting room, and it goes through and there's this lovely sunroom at the back.
Not sure at the moment. I like the location. I very much like the location. Not sure about the size of the house.
That's the
But
sense of
I
getting
need
up
to
the
see.
middle
Yeah, I
and
need to see
round.
the rest of the house.
Yeah. It's interesting as well because it hasn't got the furniture in. It takes a bit more imagination to imagine the coziness of it. So there's a little bit of that going on, I think, as well.
So you're feeling it's a bit small? Is the...
Just first impressions, yeah, that might change as we go around.
Okay, well, let's have a look in the kitchen.
Across the hall, the kitchen breakfast room sits to the front of the house.
Kitchen again, bare of any furniture, and what do you think?
It's a good size. Yeah, very good size.
You've got a sort of cryptic smile, polite smile, Jim. Is that that you've given up on this one? It's not.
No, I haven't given up on it at all. No. I'm just struggling to see how we're going to fit everything in.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen whether this house can coax John and Stephen to make it work for them, although it seems they are open to doing some reconfiguration. Completing the current layout of the ground floor, a utility and cloakroom sit behind the kitchen, and behind that, a dining room with views and doors out to the garden. Upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms. To the front of the house is a double bedroom with built-in wardrobes and a single room, which are both served by a family bathroom. There's a further bedroom to the rear of the house with an ensuite. Then, overlooking the garden, is the ensuite master.
This would be your bedroom. Got great views.
Yes, it has.
And you've got an ensuite here.
There's a nice sized room, but I don't see much in the way of storage, if you once you get your...
Yeah, once you get your bed in. Yeah.
That's true. Oh dear, I feel like it's ebbing away. Sand dropping through my fingertips.
It seems the accommodation in this detached Dales house has failed to convince our buyers, but perhaps the glorious garden setting will win them over. As well as a stream, there's a paddock of around 1/5 of an acre. And with a footpath on their doorstep, the Derbyshire countryside is in easy reach. Plus, the attached garage provides a versatile space that could be adapted for Stephen's therapy practice.
So the garden you can see here is a great runaround for the boys. Still not looking really impressed.
It's kind of everything that we weren't looking for.
Oh, really?
The look of the house is great. It's just the actual size of the rooms, I think.
I love the fact the stream is there, not that we asked for that, but it's a lovely extra.
I did extra.
Land-wise, garden-wise, it's here. I find it difficult to see the therapy room being here unless we invested in converting the garage.
So what do you think is on the market for?
375.
I'd go for 400,000.
You're both a bit low. It's on at 418,000.
Okay.
But go back inside and have another snoop around, and I'll see you out front, and then we can see what else we can rustle up for you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Coming in below budget, this detached Dales house comes with a kitchen breakfast room, dedicated dining room and a large conservatory. There are 4 bedrooms, 2 with ensuite bathrooms, and a good-sized garden surrounded by countryside.
I think the house promised a lot from when we rolled up at the front door, and I thought, wow, this looks just what we're looking for. And the location was stunning.
It feels like there's too many compromises for us with this property.
This is the quiet location that we want, but just a bigger property.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know how many extensions or skylights or new solar panels is going to make this house work for them. So I was just saying, I can't really tweak this property to make it sing to you, can I?
No, I'm afraid not, Alistair.
Let's draw a veil over it and go and get some rest and get ready for tomorrow.
Derbyshire may be best known for its dales, but at one time wealthy tourists came to the county not to clamber on its craggy cliffs, but to enjoy the alleged benefits of its naturally heated waters. The town of Buxton, once popular with the Romans, enjoyed a renaissance as a spa resort from the 18th century onwards. And in 1903, an impressive opera house was built. John, an opera fan who's even written some himself, plans to explore his musical side after the move. So during the week we sent him and Stephen to tour this theatrical treasure. They're starting in the dress circle, meeting Jenny Mather, a keen amateur dramatist who has performed here herself.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too. Whoa, blimey, what an amazing theatre.
It is a stunning theatre, isn't it? It was built in 1903 by Frank Matcham, who was the most prolific theatre architect in the country in the Victorian and Edwardian period. It's considered one of Frank Matcham's most perfect designs.
What makes it so special?
The proportions of the theatre are perfect, and of course the decor is just to die for, isn't it? It's simply stunning. And he mixed practicality with safety, lavish interior decor. Of course, Frank Matcham was master of sightline and master of acoustics, so wherever you sit in the theatre, you're guaranteed a fantastic view of the stage and you can always hear the performers. It's still, you know, a fantastic experience wherever you sit in the theatre.
There may be great views from all angles, but the tiers tell tales from the strict social classes of yesteryear. The middle and upper classes sat closest to stage level on the comfiest chairs and kept apart from the working class up in the galleries, who were packed in on hard wooden benches.
And you'll be pleased to know that there are proper seats upstairs in the gallery now.
There's so much gold everywhere and these amazing paintings on the ceiling.
The different painted panels represent the various arts. So we've got music, literature, dance, painting, poetry and comedy. The gold leaf was repainted in 2001, and I believe there's £85,000 worth of gold leaf up there. And it's still as sparkling as what it was in 2001.
In 1927, like many theatres at the time, the Opera House became a cinema before briefly closing during the 1970s. Fortunately, it was restored and reopened and is now one of around 20 surviving theatres in the country designed by Frank Matcham. To demonstrate how productions are brought to life here, technical manager Guy Dunk is on hand in the lighting box.
Well, it seems like a lot of buttons to press and control. So how many lights are you controlling from the box?
Typically, for our own lighting rig, we've got about 130, 140 lamps. They're not all rigged at the same time, but of course we get productions in from all over the world, and they will bring additional lighting with them. And so, we can control hundreds of lights.
The ancient Greeks were the first to use lighting cues, with epic performances calling for sunrise or sunset at certain points of a production. Several centuries later, the Savoy Theatre in London went fully electric, and others followed suit.
So, just to go through the very basics, there's a touch screen here. Steve, if you want to press just there, we'll see the house lights going down, just gently fading out. And then, John, if you perhaps just want to push up that fader, and there we can see the blue lights on the forestage on the curtain. Wow. So you're now officially lighting operators. Well done. So now what we're going to do is head down to the stage and see what we can find there. OK.
Great.
The Opera House uses what's known as a fly system. This means hemp ropes and manpower are employed to raise the stage curtain just as they were when the theatre first opened.
OK, guys, are you ready? House curtain going up.
The boards of this 902-seater theatre have been trod by acting legends such as Sir Alec Guinness and Dame Sybil Thorndike.
Wow. it. Just stand and perform here. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, here we go. Look.
Luckily, there are no signs of performance anxiety, as joining John and Stephen on stage are community singers the Kaleidoscope Choir for a rousing rendition of Handel's Hallelujah Chorus.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
No time for an encore, I'm afraid. We're after a property fit for a curtain call when our Derbyshire house hunt continues tomorrow. We're in Derbyshire with a maximum budget of £475,000 to find John and Stephen from East London a country home for them and their 2 sons. They've already seen some lovely property, but there's some more to come, including the mystery house, which could take our search to new heights.
Do you like what you see?
I do.
I do like what I see. Yeah, it's lovely. It's welcoming. It's warming.
That lovely calm feeling.
And I'm at the cutting edge of a local craft revival in Derby.
I think there's something to be said about the warmth that you get from wood. It's less sterile.
Jota, you're kind of beaming.
I know.
We didn't quite hit the mark yesterday, but today's another day here in the beautiful peaks, and we're hoping that we can get closer to meet John and Steve's expectations, even though they are quite high for their budget. But it's all for a good cause, getting the boys a new home up here in the north. And so I'm hoping that one of today's properties is going to hit the mark. I'm really hoping one of them does.
We're travelling to the small hamlet of Shipley Gate on the border with Nottinghamshire. The town of Eastwood is under 1.5 miles away and provides a good range of shops and services. The writer D.H. Lawrence was born in this former coal town, and as the son of a barely literate miner, his exposure to colliery life was formative. A short drive away, our next house is located by a canal built to transport the region's coal. Accessed via a gated drive, the surroundings may be picturesque, but it holds its own rather gruesome link to the mining industry.
Okay, now, I love this property, but I have no idea whether you're going to love it or hate it. This used to be the slaughterhouse. Yes. I was toying whether to tell you that or not. It's the slaughterhouse where they used to slaughter the pit ponies.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
This is a project, so it's whether you're going to be willing to do the work and make it happen.
Sure. OK. I'm up for a project.
I think so, yeah.
What are your first thoughts coming down the drive?
I love it.
Yeah.
This kind of feels to me like, the sort of the house in the woods, the gingerbread fairy tale sort of place.
But without the...
But without the witch.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this looks fantastic.
It does, yeah.
Mm.
Really excited about seeing inside.
See what you think.
With a stable block dating from the 18th century, the main building was constructed in the 1920s and converted into a home in the 1980s. Its intriguing layout begins with an entrance hall which leads into the country kitchen.
Come into the warmth and into the kitchen.
I love it, actually, the fact it's like a kind of a farmhouse kitchen. It just kind of gives that nice feel to it, doesn't it? Working kitchen, full of character. I love the beams as well.
Yeah. I love it. It feels like a home, which is what we're after, isn't it, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think it's a love it or hate it sort of thing. You know, if you like the vibe of the place, then you can do something with it.
Yeah.
Directly off the kitchen is a reception room packed with period appeal.
This is the heart of the home, really. This is the sort of central sitting room.
Lovely and quirky.
It is.
It really is quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah, which is exactly what we're after, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this house has a lot of character. Great big roaring kind of coal fire.
Yes. Completely tugging at my heartstrings. It really is, yeah. I could just imagine us in here.
I could, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a very cosy house, and you could do so much with it.
I think particularly what appeals to me, the boys loving exploring and hiding and running around and having a lot of fun living here, I think, particularly I think would appeal to the boys, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Upstairs is a little bit tight, just warning you, so let's have a look at there.
I'm glad the somewhat grisly origins of this former slaughterhouse have not distracted John and Stephen from its undeniable charms. And off this reception is a dining room with a spiral staircase up to the upper floor, as well as doors out to a sunroom. Next to this is a second kitchen space, and beside the entrance hall is a utility plus a flight of stairs down to the first of 4 bedrooms that includes an ensuite cloakroom. But we're taking the main stairs from the sitting room up to the remaining 3 bedrooms.
I'll give you I'll get your bearings up here. You can explore a bit more later. So this is the master behind you. So you've got sort of lots of storage under the eaves, but no ensuite. You'd have to use this bathroom here. Mm-hmm. And then on this side, you've got a sort of chain of 2 interlocking rooms and another bathroom, and then the spiral staircase. You'd all be one family snug under the eaves.
Yeah, I think it's quite snug, isn't it?
It is.
Not a big problem, I don't think. We could work with that while we get the place sorted out.
You can imagine playing hide and seek or sardines.
There are even more hidden corners to explore, as outbuildings include a garage and a disused cottage ripe for renovation. But first we're investigating the former stable block, which is currently divided into 6 zones and dates from the 1700s.
Oh, this sort of space makes the sort of developer drool a little bit, but maybe it puts you off, does it?
No, not in the slightest. I think there's so much that we could do with this. There's so many opportunities, I think, absolutely. For therapy rooms and playroom for the boys, or a music room, or just, there's a lot of potential here.
And it feels really solid as well, so, the structure's there. Yeah.
There's a lot of potential.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that the garden might just seal the deal.
Right, OK.
The 3/4-acre grounds have been planted with over 300 trees by the current owners, who also rent 1.5 acres of land for around £350 a year. It's the perfect territory for budding adventurers, offering them its very own stretch of uncharted waters.
Look, you've got a river. Oh, this is the Erewash River.
Beautiful.
It's a proper countryside.
Yeah,
you've outdone yourself, I think, today.
Yeah.
Amazing, beautiful.
Sound of the water's amazing.
Beautiful garden, I love it. I love the naturalness of it too.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a good vibe.
Yes.
Now comes the tricky bit, guessing the price.
I'm going to be cheeky. I think with the amount of work that needs to be done, I think that has to be reflected in the price. So for me, I'm going to go 385.
I'm going to be even more cheeky there, I think, and then go for 375, I think.
OK, you're both being very cheeky.
Yes.
This is it's a big lot of property. This is on the market for 450.
450, OK.
You could negotiate down, but probably not that far down.
No.
Because you're right, there's a lot of work, and you're going to have to budget about whether you can actually afford to do it. So take a look at the outhouses, the cottage, and have a sniff around inside to see if that's going to work for you.
Right.
And I'll see you at the front.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Well, they are cheeky, aren't they? That's a very low price. But, they're right. It's going to take a lot of work. But what an opportunity. I mean, I think it could be such a great place for the boys to grow up and for them to have a life together.
With a guide price £25,000 below their top budget, this converted slaughterhouse comes with a country kitchen, characterful sitting room and 4 bedrooms. There's lots of potential in the various outbuildings, plus it's in a canal-side country location with its own stretch of river.
I'm enamoured with this property. I like the canal, I like the river at the bottom of the garden. The garden just seems to go on and on and on.
It's an amazing property. It has so many things that we haven't asked for, but would have been on a higher sort of fantasy wish list, I guess. I think this could definitely be our home, and for the boys particularly, I can just see them having so much fun in the garden. I really see, their smiling faces in my imagination, just having a wonderful childhood, which is really a big part of the reason why we want to move to Derbyshire.
I think this has got potential.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being converted to a holiday let, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the rooms next door. I think we could possibly use part of that.
Good, I like
the
this.
space. I love the space.
Planning what you can do with the
sorry.
space is a very good sign. I'm afraid I'm going to have to drag you away because we've got other houses to see, other things to do.
Okay.
So follow me.
Amongst the moors and peaks, the mines and mills of Derbyshire played a pivotal role in Britain's industrial revolution. And the area around the Derwent River was particularly productive. This former cotton mill now houses the workshop of Ben Edmonds, who's bringing back a local skill, knife making.
And it's fantastic what you're doing because obviously Sheffield, the Peak District, famous for knives and scissors and steel. And now here you are kind of reviving.
Yeah, we just make one-off kitchen knives.
What's the kind of fascination of steel and wood and blades?
I'm from the Midlands and I wanted to make a knife that I thought was true to me. I wanted to pick the right steel, the right design and produce something quite simple, but best for the job.
So the handle, this is wood?
Aesthetically, I think it's great, and I think there's something to be said about the warmth that you get from wood. It's less sterile.
It's lovely, you're kind of beaming.
I know.
Ben first started crafting knives at his kitchen table, using techniques he learnt from the internet. 4.5 years on, he runs a 3-man enterprise. Each knife begins as flat metal, which is worked through a series of 4 belts, starting with a ceramic belt that grinds a V-shaped blade edge.
For those of us who don't have £1,000 for new knives, I mean, I've got knives that are probably horrendously blunt. Is there a way of kind of keeping knives that we already have sharp?
The main thing is to keep them sharp. Once a knife is dulled, it's tricky to get the edge back.
Have you got time to give me a little workshop on that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good.
The travelling knife sharpener, who once visited towns and villages every year, was a common sight in Victorian Britain. Now, left to our own devices without those sharp skills, blunt knives are an all too common problem.
So I recognise these, but I have
Okay.
no idea what to do with them.
Right. So these are 2 very different things, although they look relatively similar. That's a hone, and that's a steel.
Okay.
So a hone doesn't have an abrasive edge. That's completely smooth, whereas a steel has got a slight abrasion.
With a dulled knife, we need to start with the steel.
So from the heel, we put the knife flat and we give it about 15 degrees. And all we're going to do is drag the knife down, making sure that you go from heel to tip all the way, and then we go to the other side. Same angle. So give that a go.
Okay.
Right there, set that angle and pull it all the way down. That's it. Maybe a bit more pressure.
Bit more?
Yeah, a bit more.
Then it's on to the hone for a few light strokes.
You're probably talking 3 or 4 times on each side.
Okay.
And all that does...
Caressing.
Yeah, caressing the blade. And all that does is realigns the edge.
And finally, we use a whetstone to give a really sharp finish.
So
we
start at the heel.
flat.
Yeah, and work all the way to the tip.
And pushing up.
Yeah. Nice. Let's have a look.
Looking good.
I think we are. And we'll try the paper again. And we'll see what happens.
Oh, wow.
Perfect. There we go.
Amazing.
Nice and sharp, yeah. If you love your knife, then yeah, it should last. Yeah, it should last a lifetime. That's the idea with them anyway. If you look after them properly, you should be able to have one knife for life.
In terms of the mystery house, do you have any concept what we might be showing you there?
Something possibly converted? Converted barn or a windmill or something? I don't know.
It'd be a very quirky property indeed.
Converted mill chimney or something.
A mill chimney.
Yes. It just doesn't stack up, really, does it?
Oh, God.
Our mystery house is found in Flash, a village in the Peak District National Park, just across the Staffordshire border. A range of services are found 3 miles away in the Derbyshire spa town of Buxton, whose architectural delights include the 18th century Devonshire Dome, which originally provided stabling and quarters for the servants of the nearby Crescent Hotel. Back in Flash, there are stunning views of the Peak District, as well as a shop and pubs. It's claimed to be the highest village in Britain has been disputed, but there's no doubt that it did once feature the country's highest Methodist chapel, which has been converted into a home and is the property we've come to see.
And this is the Mystery House.
Wow. Yeah.
You were correct about the conversion, not a windmill, but a Methodist chapel.
Wow.
Okay.
What do you think?
It looks
It
very
does.
interesting for the outside, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, completely renovated and done up inside 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's a mystery house, remember, so it's a bit of a curveball.
Sure.
Yep.
There's
Right.
one very obvious feature that you might not like,
Oh.
but I think there's a lot to
Okay.
admire.
Sure.
You ready for a go?
Yeah. I can't wait to see
Definitely.
it. Yeah.
Let's go inside.
Wesleyan Methodism was well established in Flash when a chapel was built here in the 18th century to serve a 61-strong congregation. Rebuilt in 1821, it's now a Grade II listed home. Spread over 3 levels, we're starting in the multi-purpose living space that has been created on the ground floor.
Come right into the heart of this big beast of a house. As you can see, it's pretty much all open plan.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Do you like what you see?
I do.
I do like what I see. Yeah, it's lovely. It's welcoming. It's warming. It feels cosy, even though it's a big space.
Because you've got a big log burner, sort of solid fuel heater here, and that actually heats all the water. You've also got another one here if you get chilly in the winter.
Oh, okay.
And as you can see, this would have been the kind of worship space.
Yeah. I've got a thing about converted churches anyway. Just that lovely calm feeling.
Nice feel. Let's look in the kitchen.
The sitting room is sandwiched between an area used as a study cum music room and a dining space. Then at the back we find a separate country kitchen breakfast room.
Everything flows very nicely, and then you've got a kitchen with amazing views.
It's amazing, just unexpected, such a sort of a modern kitchen. I just get a really good feeling about the place.
The style fits lovely with
Yes,
the
it
house,
does,
doesn't
yeah.
Well, the space and the serenity of this former chapel may yet convert John and Stephen. On the lower ground floor is a cosy snug, a storeroom, utility, and a wet room serving 2 of the home's 4 bedrooms. A very large double and a smaller double. And taking the stairs, we reach a galleried upper floor.
So again, let me just give you a little bit of geography. On that side, you've got very nice, probably would be your master, and then a beautiful bathroom, a family bathroom with a sort of one of those slipper baths. And then you've got this lovely kind of basically a sitting room for a landing, another bedroom here, and then a great big kind of, well, it's a dressing room here.
As it stands, it doesn't work. I mean, I still love it. You know, that's the thing about it. It's a lovely feel to it.
Practically, I don't think it would work. You know, I'm thinking about your therapy room, where we would have that. But I do love the house. I really love the house.
I guess I could always retire earlier.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, the question marks might be resolved when we look at the outside space.
OK.
OK, all right, OK.
Come with me.
Despite the impressive spec and location, John and Stephen remain to be convinced that this house has everything they need for family life. And outside, it's time to reveal why this is a bit of a gamble. Because restrictions here in the national park mean that this sizable home is limited to a rather modest patio plot.
So this might be the shortest garden tour I've ever done because this is your garden.
Right.
OK.
The idea, of course, is that this is your garden. But it being the Peak District, you cannot turn arable land into garden.
Right.
Not much to say, really, about this.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
clearly for us the garden was an important part
Yeah.
because of the boys, and we want them to be safe. That's a big missing piece, I think, for us. Yeah. So it is beautiful. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And we love it, I think.
Yeah, we do.
There's just the missing pieces, I think.
And what do you think it's on the market for?
Yeah. So we think it's.
I think it's
top
got to be over budget.
end. Yeah. Do you think so?
I would even go as far as to say maybe 520.
Oh. I do think it's above what we were prepared to pay. I think I'm going to say £475.
This is actually on the market for £445,000.
Really?
Oh, OK.
Wow.
I'm sorry about the garden, but, you know, we couldn't resist not showing it to you because it's a
no.
classic mystery house. And it has, you know, lots that it recommends it.
This converted Methodist chapel offers open-plan living on the ground floor and a separate kitchen and breakfast room. There are a total of 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it's in the heart of a village within the Peak District National Park.
From the moment we pulled up and saw the house from the outside, the mystery house I just thought was beautiful. Had a brilliant use of space. This house would have been a contender had it had a garden, and I think we would have gone for it.
Ordinarily, I think it would be lovely to move in and consider, putting a bid in for it. But it just doesn't fit our new family requirements, so unfortunately, we're going to have to let it go.
Oh, beautiful views, but I feel a rotter for showing you this property and not giving you a garden. But what can I do? Oh, sorry. But we're done here, but there is a pub, probably the highest pub in Britain, over there. So why don't you get yourself settled in there and I'll come join you in a moment.
Sure. OK.
Thanks, Alistair.
Oh, mystery houses can be so heartbreaking. They can either go wildly right or wildly wrong. I mean, the garden was always going to be a hard thing to swallow, and it didn't quite work out. But let's go and find out what they think about the whole experience of being on Escape to the Country. Hey, nice to see you've really settled into the neighbourhood. Drinks ready and everything. Have you been mulling over the properties?
We certainly have, and I think there's no doubt in our view that the house that's the favourite is the one by the canal.
Yes, I'm glad, because it's a great property. So what are the brass tacks? What happens next?
Look at the finances and...
Yeah, and look at the plans for the place too, get a rough idea of what we want to get done pretty quickly and how much that will cost. And I see that being absolutely possible.
And what about the boys? I mean, what's the plan? Do you bring them up? And
Yes, we'll have to bring them up and let them see the property. They are an important part of the decision-making process. They'll love the stream, they'll love the canal, they'll adore the garden. There's so much room for them to just run around.
And a great house for them to hide in.
Exactly, so many cubby holes. It's going to hold their interest, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm delighted that we found you something, because it was quite a tall order, but we seem to have found you something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really, really hope that you and the boys take that house and settle in.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep us in the loop.
Yeah,
fantastic
so
few
help.
days.
Yeah.
Really has been amazing.
It's always nice to be in Derbyshire. So.
Yeah.
Can I let you into a secret? I thought for a while we had bitten off more than we could chew, because Steve and John really wanted a lot for their budget. But it was such a good story with the boys and the new family moving from the East End to all of this that we did take on the challenge. And I am so relieved that we seem to have hit a bullseye with that house by the canal. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's the sort of work that will really bring that family together. Because they need a peak experience, and this is the landscape that will give it to them. So on that happy note, join us next time for more rural adventures on Escape to the Country.
If you would like to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales or England and need our help, you can apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.